This week on NWP. Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, NWP Episode 11 presents, for your entertainment, the Road Dog, Rob Otone.
Oh, I'm Road Dog? Ugh.
Badass, Patrick Hijek.
Oh yeah, that's better.
Your podcast champions of the world, the Nerds Without Pants. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Nerds Without Pants. I am Julian, and yeah, I've been watching a lot of old school WWE DX Attitude Era stuff.
Yeah.
So you have that to thank for that intro. We've been gone for about a month. Let some things happen to us in our RL, and just kind of recharge the batteries and everything. So yeah, I missed you guys. What Patrick? Like, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of games. Not doing too much. I went on a retreat with the kids who I teach, which was a lot of fun. That was like a whole week. So I've been out of the state for a little bit. And yeah, just been playing games and reading a lot of comic books, getting more into that like I used to be, because this new stuff on Batman is awesome. And yeah, it's just sort of branched off from there. So how about you guys?
Yeah, Rob, it's been a while, so we haven't really had a chance to talk in our little hiatus, so been itching to hear from you.
I've been starting a lot of new writing gigs and reading a lot of comic books. I tried to get into that new Batman run, and I'm just not feeling it, so I stopped. And I've been reading a lot of Bravest Warriors, which is from the creator of Adventure Time, and I'm loving it. I'm also reading Sleepy Hollow, which is a modern take on the old Headless Horseman myth, which is also fantastic. And I've been reading a really trippy comic book called The Saucer of Zilk, which I don't know if I'm the only person on the planet who's loving this comic book, but I might be. And it feels, it's sort of like a BBC superhero show without the annoying fans of the BBC to ruin it for you. So check out The Saucer of Zilk. It's awesome. Bravest Warriors is awesome. And, yeah. And Before Watchmen is still good. They introduced a new series of Moloch, the Magnificent. And, I did not think that his comic was going to be good at all. And it turned out to be incredible. So
yeah, I picked that up yesterday. I saw that in my comic book shop it was recommended reading. I'm gonna read that today during, games and stuff. But
yeah, it's really great.
And speaking of Watchmen, Rob, like, you have a little bit of announcement, right?
I do. The Comedian Rape Den has grown, quite a bit. I recently bought the Before Watchmen comedian statue, and, I'm very pleased with it. And he's actually going to have a brother in the form of my other favorite comic book character of all time. I picked up, and already paid for the Killing Joke Joker statue that flashes with the flashbulb when you walk by it.
Oh, is that the cover one where he's kind of, it's like the full body statue?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and
man,
he's got like one of those creepy little midgets between his legs. Yeah, I already
and
paid
that's
for
the
that.
reason that I thought you would like absolutely love the new Batman storyline, Death of the Family. Don't you think that's awesome? I mean, the Joker has no face and he puts on like his old face and I don't know, comes back after a year of being God knows where. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious, Rob, how far did you get?
I read the first issue, and Batman made enough stupid moves to make me not care about what happens. So the problem that I have, and the problem that I've always had, and Julian, we talked about this on Facebook very briefly, is that Batman has an army of vigilantes ready to help him that are like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go after the Penguin for selling some drugs to some gang guys, but, you know, I'm Nightwing, and I'm an awesome detective too, remember? I was the original Robin, so maybe I could help you. And Batman's like, no, I got it, don't worry. It's like, okay, well, when the Joker comes around, in my mind at least, it should be all hands on deck. Like, Green Lantern should be like, okay, this guy's a psychopath, he's worse than any villain I've ever faced. I'm gonna go and help Batman catch this asshole before he kills everybody. It just seems like when a villain, the stature of the Joker comes back, it should be everybody dropping everything that they're doing to help Batman. And of course, Batman's like, nope, I'm good, I got it. Don't worry, someone's gonna die, and I'm gonna be really slow. It's gonna take 13 issues to catch this asshole, but it's fine.
See, I feel like you needed to go a little further, because in issue 14, he actually does go to Nightwing and say, I need your help. And he actually puts everybody on alert and says, look, like, Joker is recreating all of his old crimes. I need everybody to fan out and try to anticipate where he's going to be. And then once you finally realize, like, what the Joker's MO is this time, like, it's the creepiest he's ever been, because basically his whole thing is that he now worships Batman as, like, the God King of Gotham City, but he feels that Batman's sidekicks and friends have lessened his godlike powers, and Joker just wants to return him to his throne. And it's like this really, it really goes to the heart of that creepy, like, you know, hate / like love, almost passionate relationship, like feelings that Joker has for him. Like Catwoman number 14, like she straight up says, like, you just want to be Batman's bitch. And he's like, well, of course I do.
I mean, I've seen that before, though. I mean, they did that in The Dark Knight Returns. Like, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I've seen the Joker, like, worship Batman and be, like, borderline homoerotic with him and stuff. So it's like, it doesn't really, I don't know, to see Scott Snyder take 14 issues before he finally, you know, has the entire Bat crew on alert. It's like, okay, well, you should probably learn to tell stories faster. But
it's only
I
been
do like Scott
2 issues.
Snyder because he's a Long Island guy. So.
Well, I mean, even though it's Joker and he's like the most disgusting and sadistic character in the Batman universe, there are still like hundreds of other enemies that Batman Incorporated could be fighting, you know? Like, it's not just one man.
Send the B Squad to deal with everybody else. Like, the A-Team needs to focus on the main guy, and apparently that's the case, but I don't know. It's the fact that it takes 14 different issues before Batman realizes he needs help. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Well, no, but that's the thing is that, you know, it's 2 issues. Like, it's only on the second issue of this arc.
Yeah.
So.
But you said by issue 14 before.
Yeah, but the arc started with issue 13.
Yeah.
Like this whole Joker thing started with issue 13.
Because we had the Court of Owls storyline that you liked.
Oh, right, the 13, right. Okay,
Yeah.
right, that was issue 13. I bought that one on your recommendation. I don't know. It's like to go from one issue to another, it's like, oh, alright, that's cool. I don't know. I'll pick it up as a trade if it's enough on Amazon, but I'm not gonna, but I just can't. I spend like $150 in comics a week as it is, so I could live without Batman. I've got The Dark Knight Rises coming out in a couple days, so that's all the Batman I'm gonna need.
I can see it now. You're going to be sitting in the comedian rape den watching Dark Knight Rises over and over, perfecting your Bane voice.
It sucks that they're not it sucks that they're not releasing like the limited edition like trilogy until next year. I wanted that for Christmas.
Yeah, that's not true, because mine's coming. Mine is already on its way.
What are you talking about? Like the one where they add extra features and stuff? It says 2013.
No, mine's coming out already. Mine's coming from DC Direct. Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna look it up now because I just saw something else.
Maybe it's not until 2013 is in January.
Yep, Ultimate Collector's Edition.
Maybe that's what, like, yeah. I pre-ordered that already. It's already paid for. I have 3 copies of The Dark Knight Rises coming to my house.
What? Why?
I have, there's an edition from Amazon that comes with Batman's Broken Mask, so I have that one coming. I have the DC Direct Special Edition that comes with action figures of Catwoman, Batman, and Bane. And I have, the trilogy one that Patrick was talking about coming from DC Direct also. And I might buy another one. I might get like a DVD copy, just to have it.
Alright, Patrick, we need to worry about Rob actually having his face surgically removed and then pinning it back on. Because that's
No, it's okay, because he doesn't read the comics. So.
I try not to read a lot of superhero comics mostly because I don't want to, get super into it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to spend a ton of money, like, in addition to what I'm already spending on comics. Like, I'm reading Godzilla, this Half-Century War is so amazing, but like, you know, I'll pick up something fun every now and then. I get my Peanuts comics. I picked up a couple Simpsons comics and they're hysterical. Things here and there. I don't like to read the superhero stuff. I almost bought the debut of Muslim Green Lantern, though, but I didn't.
Yeah, I don't read too many superhero comics, and since I've come
I
back,
like that, Bob.
tried to just focus on Batman. I mean, that's like a tough task in itself. But I also picked up the new the new Hawkeye series. It's on issue 4, and I think that people who don't like superhero movie or comics but like 100 Bullets would really love it, because it's got like this great like 60s superhero vibe, and it's really minimalist, and it's a lot of pulp action rather than like superhero stuff.
This is the Hawkeye one, right? Not Hawkman?
Yeah, Hawkeye.
Okay, yeah. I've been hearing good things about it. I like the covers. The covers are really cool.
Isn't Mark Miller writing that?
No.
It's someone I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah, me too.
But a lot of
who's writing Hawkeye?
I'd have to look it up. A lot of the recent Marvel writers I'm really not that familiar with. I know the names, but I don't know what their works. Like Dan Slott and Matt Fraction and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's Fraction.
Oh, it is Fraction? Okay.
Totally remember that name.
Yeah, they've got, like, it seems like a lot of the writers lately have got these, like, almost, they seem like fake names to me, like, you can't, that's like a stage name. You want to sound cool.
This is all just Stan Lee, so.
It's also Stan Lee churning everything out on his own. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Face front believer?
Speaking of that and speaking of Hawkeye, like, I've been rewatching all of the Avengers movies leading up to finally watching the Avengers on Blu-ray.
Ooh.
And man, like when you watch them back to back to back, it all ties in so well. I'm really pleased with how that works. Like I'm seeing little Easter eggs and stuff I didn't catch in the first or fourth times that I watched the movies. And it's just, I don't know, as a longtime comic book fan who was always frustrated with comic book movies where they could never acknowledge the existence of other heroes. Like, this whole Avengers stuff is just so wonderful. I love it so much.
Aww.
So I just want them to get to Phase 2 already. Like, I want to see what Phase 2.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy, and I never thought that I would say that.
Oh my god,
I wonder,
so good.
Yeah. I want to see what Iron Man 3 is going to have, because Iron Man 3 looks awful. So I'm just saying that now. Like, I've been making fun of Ben Kingsley's Mandarin because his voice is ridiculous.
And I'm not too keen on the whole, like, you know, he looks like a kind of Mongolian hobo, like in the costume.
Well, yeah, I think the idea is that he's supposed to be like a Bin Laden type, which is fine. That's a really interesting way to do it, but Ben Kingsley's a better actor than what you're letting him do. But I'd like to see if that ends with maybe somehow incorporating the gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet. I don't think it will, but it could be kind of cool. I just really hope that what's his face doesn't direct Guardians of the Galaxy. The guy who co-wrote Lollipop Chainsaw, James Gunn. I thought he's not giving Guardians of the Galaxy.
I thought he was. I thought he was like locked in. Isn't that? Or is he just rumored
confirmed?
To be? I thought he was, but I know that he had said some stuff on like a forum about a year ago when they were saying like the director of Guardians of the Galaxy is sexist and blah blah blah. So I'm assuming that he's like on board the project, but you know I'm not sure how far that's moved along.
I think he's not the best choice for that for that.
No, that's disappointing.
I'm not the biggest fan of him. He's a Trauma guy. Like, Trauma, I mean, that stuff's garbage. Like, you can't really enjoy Trauma. I mean, I know a lot of people who do, and I just, question there.
I enjoy Trauma ironically. But,
well, Juliet, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah, just like bronies.
But, you know, enough about comics, like, games, man. Like, we played a lot of games. Rob, did you play some games?
No, I got rid of my 360 and my DS. No, I've bought entirely too many games, and entirely too many games. I started playing, and this is the weirdest one. I started playing, Peter Jackson's Kingdom video game, because I got it for free at GameStop.
I saw that pop up on your profile.
Yeah, I've always been interested in it. I saw the movie. But I've always been intrigued in playing the game, mostly because it's easy achievements, and you play as King Kong, like how is that not cool? So I've been playing through it, and it really reminds me a lot of Oblivion, which is creepy. I like it a lot. I actually kind of get motion sick playing it, which is weird. It never happens to me. But, I get a little motion sick playing it, and I think it's because the funny thing is it feels claustrophobic, even though it takes place on Skull Island, and it's really a wide open space, but it's really getting sick looking at, like, waterfalls and mountains. And I think that's a common play movie, isn't it? It's like, entirely too much of it takes place on Skull Island.
I don't remember what people were, I feel like people were really, like high on that movie when it came out. I never actually ended up seeing it, but I feel like everybody was, like, on board with it. Is my memory, like, rose-colored now? I don't know.
I don't know. I'd still like to see it. I mean, it has people that I really like in it, so I don't see why I wouldn't like it. But, yeah, I like the game, more or less. I think Jack Black is a pretty good voice actor in it or whatever. I mean, everybody's good. It's fine. But, I've been playing that. I also bought a couple DS games. I bought last night, actually. I bought my 4th copy of Plants vs. Zombies because GameStop had a special edition that came with a pea shooter stylus. So I felt that warranted buying a 4th copy of Plants vs. Zombies. Because I mean, it's one of my 5 favorite video games of all time. So I don't know. I would have felt remiss if I didn't get it because I still regret not buying the Game of the Year edition for the PC that came with a little zombie statue. So, you know, I figured whatever. Stylus is a good booby prize. But, I bought that. I bought, Adventure Time, Hey Ice King, Why You Stealing Our Garbage, which I haven't even gotten to play yet. Also on the DS. I'm gonna actually get some DS game time in soon, which is nice. I played a game, you guys might have heard of it, it's called Halo 4. Sort of the space opera type thing.
Is that a new one?
Like that. And, yeah, it's pretty new. It's a lot like Call of Duty. Only if Call of Duty had heart and brains. Yeah, I know, Julian, you played Halo 4, and like, I'm gonna preface this by saying, I never played Halo 3 ODST until I finished it yesterday. So, I was always like, okay, well, that's the shitty one, I'm not gonna play that one. I don't care about that one. And then I was like, okay, well, I looked at my Halo Waypoint thing, which is the service that ties all the Halo universe together with Microsoft and everything. And, I was like, shit, I never played ODST. I played all these other ones. I love all these other ones, more or less.
Alright, hello again, everyone. That's the last you're gonna hear of Rob for this episode. We tried recording this episode over the weekend, and we just had some terrible, technical difficulties. We tried to schedule, another time during the week, but, unfortunately in that time period, Rob got really sick, so he couldn't, be here for this second half of the recording, but fortunately he has 4 or 5 copies of The Dark Knight Rises, kind of huddled around him, and he can kind of cuddle them for warmth, and hopefully he gets better soon. But, Patrick, if listeners remember, on our last full episode, we were mourning the loss of your PlayStation 3, because it had just gone kerplunk. But I understand that we have reason to rejoice now?
We do. I went to the midnight launch of Assassin's Creed 3, and while I was waiting for that and got the limited edition coin and everything that's now worth like $100 online or whatever, no big deal, I got a new PlayStation 3, 500 gigabytes, way, way better than my 40 gigabyte PlayStation 3 that I would have to delete stuff for all the time.
Oh, I have that problem all the time on my PS3.
And it's super slim, man, so I get to like bring it anywhere I want. It fits right in my backpack easily. I don't really feel like, oh man, I gotta unplug it and move it to a different TV in the house, because I have like one TV that's 40 or 55 inches and another that's 26, so there's a big step up. One of them does 3D, which I've been playing Assassin's Creed Revelations and Assassin's Creed 3 in, and it's actually pretty cool to see the 3D effect from Revelations to 3, because 3 works way better in a lot of ways. Like for Revelations, I just played through after I got my new system to work my way up to Assassin's Creed 3. It was like they were just starting, and a lot of the times it would be really blurry, even though it was in 3D. And I was just like, oh man, is this how it's going to be for all 3D games? Because like, I'm going to do it anyway since we have this TV. Like, we spent the money.
Use that feature, damn it.
Yeah. it doesn't do much for you, but like, well, in this game at least. In some other games, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you have Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, right? The
Yeah.
collection? That one looks really nice. I played that over at a friend's house. That one looks really good, and even though the game is crap, the 3D sections of Silent Hill Downpour are really nice too.
I didn't realize that that Eco was in 3D. I've beaten both of those games, but like, that might actually make me want to get it again.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. Like, some of those vistas, in Eco especially, just look really, really nice with the 3D turned on.
And because everything in the distance, I remember, is able to be climbed upon. Like, you can go everywhere that you can see, I think, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah, I mean, Assassin's Creed 3 I think is better than a lot of people are giving it credit for. Granted, I'm not like all the way through, so it might be a big letdown at the end.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing is it's not so much. Well, I know some people are upset about the way it starts off, but that sounds kind of cool to me. But from the main thing that I've heard is that the ending is kind of a letdown. So I really want to see what you think once you get through it, because I know you're a big fan of the series.
The beginning is actually great. I was like, whoa, I'm back in Assassin's Creed already, but like, I feel good about this because I'm in an opera and I've never been in like an area like this, and like the main character is dressed like regally and not like in an obvious assassination suit or something. Like, so then I like go to the left and crawl up the side of the opera house, and I have to crawl along the balcony wall because there's other people watching from their little box seats on the left side, and you got to go to one that's empty, and then you go around and you go backstage and you go up top and you got to crawl quietly while like different objects are coming down onto the stage, and like the scenery is being added, and you can see like a sun and everything like that as you walk past. And if you make a false move, people will see like, whoa, there's like a guy right on top of the stage. So you have to get past that, and then you have to go to a box all the way on the other side and stab the guy in the heart from the back of his chair right through the chair. It's awesome.
Please tell me you sing Music of the Night while you do so. Because that sounds very Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, it's something like that.
That's really cool. I mean, let me ask you. I mean, I know you haven't played a lot of Assassin's Creed 3 yet, but being a fan of the series, would you be happy if they come out with another one for this generation next holiday season, or are you ready for them to take a rest and wait until next gen?
I was ready for them to take a rest, but I like didn't play Assassin's Creed Revelations for like 2 years after I beat the other one like right away, Brotherhood, and I was like bummed with Brotherhood because it didn't do much, but like that's just for the story. It did a lot for like the ways you can play the game. Since then, I feel like they've added a lot of different elements that makes it more interesting, like mini games and fight clubs, stuff like that. And in Revelations, at least, they progressed the story enough where I feel like I actually got something from playing it, or I sort of say like reading it, because sort of like you're reading some lore or something like that when you get to the end of an Assassin's Creed game. It's like almost the same as a Metal Gear Solid game. It's like I played to get to this cinematic, and it's gonna last an hour, damn it.
Right. I mean that's cool. Like I'm not a fan of annual iterations of games.
Yeah, I hate that.
But it's kind of hard to argue if the games are coming out at a certain level of quality. Because, like back on the PS2, I mean, Insomniac cranked out a Ratchet and Clank game every year for like 4 years. But they were all really good games. And I think from what I've seen of Assassin's Creed, they kind of stay consistent as well. And, you and I have talked a lot of yang about the Call of Duty games, but as I've said before, those games are well made. And, I know you and I were both excited about Black Ops 2, and I think we've both played it since our last recording. And I'm curious if it lived up to what you were expecting, because we were pretty hot, excited and high on the potential of what they were showing when it first got unveiled.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I'm one of those people who got like wrapped up in the multiplayer during the Double XP first weekend. But by the way, my friends are like just like ecstatic that I'm actually playing, because I'm a decent shooter. I just like don't play something like Call of Duty, or haven't before this one. So they're like, wow, I did not think that the sun was gonna never rise again. Like, you actually got this game. And then, I don't know, just the fact that they wanted me to play with them a lot, like, got me to only do multiplayer pretty much up until this point. I have played like the first 2 missions or so. So I haven't gotten much into like any sort of future tech. I've played the zombies too. I don't know. I think I have like a level 40 something multiplayer character. So I didn't prestige yet, but like that's just because I needed to stop after 2 days worth of like 8 hours straight.
You sound like me with Halo 4, where I wasn't expecting to play the multiplayer because I'm just not good at multiplayer shooters. But something about the Halo 4 multiplayer really snagged me. Yeah. And I haven't had a chance to play it in the last week and a half or so because I've been doing reviews and stuff like that. But I've gotten my Spartan up to level 28. And I've actually gotten to the point where I'm like the top scorer on my team, or I'm winning games of Regicide, which is basically like the only version of like free-for-all that they have. And for me, that's like a huge achievement. Like, I wanted to see the little achievement unlocked for like won a multiplayer match, because that's just not something that I do. Yeah. But yeah, like I can totally, relate. As far as like playing a shooter where you were expecting to get sucked into the story and then spend like hours and hours and hours on the multiplayer.
Yeah, I do like multiplayer, but not so much as like deathmatch or like something where you're just killing someone else. I like something co-op, like in Uncharted. I used to play a lot of co-op multiplayer, or in Need for Speed Most Wanted, which I got because I had like this game reward unlocked, buy 2 get 1 free thing, and I had to buy that, and I had to buy Professor Layton because it just came out, and I bought like this Art Academy game for a Nintendo 3DS. I play that online with people, but I really don't know too many drivers,
Yeah.
So that's really what deters me. I'm like, I don't really have any interest in the people who I'm playing with a lot of the time. Whereas, Call of Duty, everybody knows at least 2 people who are playing it like a given time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're going to do an episode about multiplayer coming up, so I'll go into it more there. But I guess my thing is that I've never been a really good shot in first-person shooters. So that's always like a detriment. And, even jumping in at the beginning, it's like, I didn't understand. It's like, okay, why did I just get killed in one shot there? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't I don't know what's going on. But eventually I got the hang of it, and I realized that, like, this is just kind of a process. You just have to learn, like, you can't rush a guy when he's got this weapon. Or, when you're firing this weapon, you need to aim here, stuff like that. And once you start to learn that stuff, it gets really fun.
Yeah, or for Call of Duty, a lot of the times it's just like, I don't have the right dot sight, like, to zoom in yet. I need to level my character up so I can get, like, comfortable with the weapon that I'm using.
Yeah. So I think I'll put a pin on Call of Duty, because I really want to talk to you once you've played the story some more.
Yeah, the first mission or so was just amazing. It was like an entire set piece. I'm like, when is this world gonna open up? It never did. Even though you're in the big desert or whatever, and like you're fighting with this huge army, it's like you can't really go to the right or left like I tried to do.
Yeah.
You have to go straight up and just like not be like behind stuff, which I wasn't used to because I usually play like Tom Clancy or something like that where you have to be behind cover all the time. This is just like, just go straight forward, man. Just shoot the helicopter and like.
Yeah, it's really, like, I put this in my review, and that should be live by the time, well, hopefully it'll be live by the time this goes up, but, yeah, it's really frustrating because Treyarch is doing something really cool with this game, where there are certain things that happen in levels that you may or may not succeed in, but it doesn't cause a mission failure, but it does branch the storyline. And you may not know, like, that what you're doing is going to affect things until you see at the end of the mission it says, oh, well, you lost this intel, or, you acquired this important target, or stuff like that. And that actually does change. It doesn't change the ending so much as it does, how it branches out to the ending. Kind of like a Mass Effect game.
Yeah, or have brain influence.
Yeah. And that stuff's really cool. But the problem is that, the Call of Duty series has, I've only played a couple of them, but even I know, well, I can't get off the path Because if I get off the path, it's going to say, oh, you didn't go right when you went left when you should have gone right. So game over. And it's like, so when you're given more freedom to try to do stuff, you don't really know that you can. It's sort of like when you put when you kind of tie a horse up, and you don't actually like make a knot, you just like put the rope over the thing because the horse doesn't know any better. It's kind of that feeling. And I really feel, and again, this is going back to the iteration thing, even though I think Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is by far a better campaign than Modern Warfare 3, I would love to see them just take a year off and just wait for next gen. Because that engine and what they're wanting to do with it, it's not joshing. Like it's just not working out.
Maybe you could get an early dev kit or something like that on the PS4 or Xbox Next.
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't know, I can tell that Treyarch is trying to come into their own and no longer be the crappy Call of Duty team, and that's unfair.
I've played like all the all the Call of Duty since like the beginning has said like now he's actually looking forward more to Treyarch than he would to the other development team.
Oh yeah, like after I finished Black Ops 2, I was like, I would much rather play a Black Ops 3 than a Modern Warfare 4. I'm like, there's some definite interesting places that they can take this. Mm-hmm. And once you get to the future stuff, like some of that tech is just really cool. So,
yeah,
so we'll that's
one thing I have not seen yet. So I'm sort of stuttering because I really want to see that. Now I'm gonna have to like play it this weekend if I have time,
Yeah, because I definitely want to talk to you about it once you finish the campaign. And we won't do spoilers, of course, but I definitely want to see if you feel that it lived up to what we were hoping for.
Yeah, the problem is just that I got so many games in my backlog. I'm not going to be buying another game anytime soon. Even like NiNo Kuni, which comes out early next year. Like, man, I want to play it so much after I played this demo this week.
Oh, I need to check that out.
Oh man, it's like the most beautiful game ever, and it's like the main character looks like the guy from Ponyo, and it's adorable. Like, it's sort of like Kingdom Hearts because it's an RPG, but you get to like move your character while you're like pressing attack, and you defend just like an RPG, and you oh man, like the main character's like spell casting looks so much better than anything I've seen in a Final Fantasy game. Like it actually comes out of his wand and makes these sparks and stuff, and oh, it's beautiful.
That sounds nice. And it's funny you bring that up because Final Fantasy, especially during the PS1 days and I guess the first part of the PS2, they were known for like the really awesome spell effects. Mm-hmm. But I feel as they've gotten like more action heavy with the way the battles unfold.
Yeah.
Either the spell effects are weak sauce or you just don't have time to notice them. Like Final Fantasy 13, I couldn't tell, like, well, one, those spells just look kind of rinky dink, but most of the time, like, I'm so focused on queuing up my actions that I'm not really watching what's going on anyway.
Yeah, and like also, like you said, the magical spells that happen, it doesn't look like it's coming from their body or anything like that. I can't really tell where it's coming from sometimes. It's just like out of thin air, you see like this fire that like goes toward the guy or something like that.
Yeah.
But like you can see where it's coming from and like the catalyst. In addition to that, like in NiNo Kuni, there's like this little Pokemon type guy that you can summon at any point. And he's so cute. He's got like this bald little head. He's like this little monster with fangs. And he's got this little tiny sword and shield. But he packs a punch. He does way better attacking skills straight up than the main character, and he'll fight for you, man.
That sounds so Studio Ghibli too.
Yeah.
Like I'm half expecting like a soot monster or soot sprite to appear in your party at some point.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like a little Pikachu. No tail though. No, or maybe there's a tail. I can't tell. It might be tiny.
We'll confirm the tail at a later date.
Yeah. But I mean the first thing you get to do is defeat a boss. They just put you right in. If you go to the left, there's two different little stories you can do, like to the left or the right when you download it. I'm talking about the left one right now. You go to like this enchanted forest and you play this like big swamp kind of monster thing and take it out, and then you got to go back to your town to save it, and that's where the demo ends. And it's like, damn, save the town.
See, that's always a good sign when you get to the end of a demo and you're like, I want more of that.
Yeah, that's why I don't usually play demos. It's like, Jesus, now I have to buy something else.
Right.
Hopefully this is like the kind of game where it has a Japanese title and a lot of people in America don't get it, so then like the price drops really quick.
Well, but see, I don't want that though. I want it to do well, and I think that calling it NiNo Kuni is a nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool in the PS2 days when it was like, we're not going to change this name. We're going to call this game Onimusha. Like we're done with changing Japanese titles, to English. But as a retailer, it's like, it was really hard to sell Onimusha to people. You had people coming in looking for that Oshimushi game. And, it just doesn't resonate. Like, I feel that Wrath of the White Witch might have just been fine by itself.
Yeah.
So I worry about marketing when they're like, we're just going to keep this as Japanese as we can make it. And it's like, well, okay, that's fine, but that game didn't sell in Japan to begin with, and I don't know, it depends on what they're expecting. Like, if they're expecting Xseed type numbers, cause I know Xseed did really, really well with the last story on the Wii. They said it like their best selling game ever. Then fine, that's awesome. But if you're expecting to do, 2 million, 3 million units, like, with a name like that, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, you need a name like Ratchet.
Yeah, something simple. Something evocative.
Yeah, speaking of like, what you were saying though about iterations every year, Ratchet and Clank also came out with a demo, which I'm excited to play. Haven't gotten the chance to yet, but it's like a PSN game. It's the first time they've second time they've had it only downloadable, I think. So like they had Age of Booty, and I haven't really played a game like that, but you said like all those games were great even though they came out on a yearly basis, and I have to agree with you, but like now they haven't in a few years, and I've been jonesing for like a really good one since I platinumed to Crack in Time. And this new one, I hope it has like enough to it, because when I get into a Ratchet story, it's like this world is immersive and there's so much of it to go around, but I don't see how that can happen on a downloadable title that's only 3.8 gigabytes. Like, by the way, like the thing about having a 500 gigabyte system is awesome because you can have all the games that are like 8 gigabytes that you had only one at a time all at once. So like when I got Infamous for free, I was never able to put it on my system because I had like saved game files that were taking up 10 gigabytes already, and I had Gran Turismo, which is another 8. But now I get this huge world in Infamous as well as, Ratchet and like stuff like that, and it doesn't even make a dent.
Yeah, trust me, like, I've been reviewing a lot of PS3 games lately, and I've had to, they've been by and large downloadable games, and I've had to mess around with my storage every time, because it's just, I have the limited edition Metal Gear Solid 4 system, which is a 40 gig, and, even with me not playing my PS3 nearly as much as my 360, it's still almost full to the brim. And, it's been really difficult to make room for stuff, because it's like, I don't really know if I want to delete this save, but it's taking up a lot of space, and it's been a while since I played it, so I guess I have to.
Yeah, I can always do it again. Oh wait, it's going to take 80 hours. Damn.
Right.
That's what happened to me, even though I got a new system though, because all my saves were corrupted, and now unless I repair it, I'm never getting any of that back. And I didn't think it would matter too much, but like for Gran Turismo, I was through almost the entire campaign, I guess you would call it, or scenario mode, and man, I'm not going through that again. Like,
right, yeah. There's certain games where it's like, no, there's no way that I'm not suffering through that, or
not even
suffer, but
as hell. I got to the end just so I unlocked all the cars that I needed to, so I could play online with people. Now I don't have any of them, but it's okay because I got Need for Speed Most Wanted, and I never played that before.
And are you enjoying that?
Yeah, it's a pretty fun game, just like Burnout Paradise. Been a fan of Criterion since Burnout came out with them, and like Burnout Paradise was one of the ones that took up a lot of my gigabytes on my 40 gig PS3.
All that free content, right, that they were coming out with.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. It was like, why don't you want me to pay for this? I probably wouldn't have, but like you should have made me.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot to it. And the cars were really cool too, but the cars are even better in Most Wanted. It's just like, wow, everywhere I go, I'm like finding a car in the middle of nowhere that I have to like, hit and like take care of so that I can, make it my baby and then find a guy higher up on the most wanted list and take his car out and then take care of that car too because it's also my baby.
So is it sort of like No More Heroes on the Wii where you have to like take out the next guy on the list?
Yep. There's like a top 10 list and you're like 11 when you start out basically, and you do some missions around the city like different things from like a drag race, and like if a cop finds you, then there's a bunch of cops coming on your ass, and like they're like, oh, we know this guy, rah, 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 I-55, blah blah blah, and then like while you're racing like the drag racers as well as the cops to like get away from the cops, so it adds that extra element. It's sort of like Cops and Robbers, but not quite. And like as you go up the list, you need to add exhaust and you need to add turbo to your car and all this stuff. Like, so it made the car way more customizable than I thought it would be, because in Burnout Paradise, they didn't really have customizing options at all. You could just change your paint job.
Oh yeah.
Get a new car or, basically that's it. But for this, you can make your car lighter, you can make it handle better and all that. So it's like, more polished and there's more things to do in the world. I've heard some complaints that the world isn't brimming with its own character, but from what I can see, it's like a mix of a few different like real world cities. Like I've seen a little bit of Boston in it. I've seen a little bit of Chicago in it, and I don't know everything in it so far because I'm only number like 7 on the most wanted list. I mean, guys, come on, I got a lot of games here to play. But it's been really fun so far, and I got, I think, double XP for getting the game the day it came out, or I guess it was supposed to be the pre-order thing, but they just gave me like the box that came with it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I got free early access to the Porsche 911 Carrera, and that's pretty cool to get for free. That's a pretty expensive car. Within probably 15 minutes, I already had a car that I liked better than it. So like, there's so many different choices in that game, and there's no right answer, which is the awesome thing about it, because Criterion just throws you in the middle of a world, and it's like your city that you get to drive and never run out of gas with.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, I kind of would like to see them bust out with another Burnout, because I think that the Burnout series, they have a little more freedom to get crazy with it.
Yeah.
Because when you have licensed cars, obviously, and I've never understood the whole like licensee where it's like, well, we don't want our car to get smashed up because it shows a bad image for the company. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, cars get damaged.
Yeah, by the way, dude, did you see that Grand Theft Auto 5 is gonna have car damage in it? Because man, that is awesome. They came out with a new trailer, and it's like you're going super slow-mo and you're going right up to this other intersection, and oh no, there's a car coming, and you're in this Audi and it's licensed, and what? It's licensed? Oh shoot, you shouldn't crash, but you do. And it's damaged. What? That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll talk about the trailer in depth a little bit later on, but I did notice that the cars, I wasn't sure if they were licensed, but they sure did look like almost identical to, or pretty identical to, real cars, and like I think that's really cool, and I'm wondering how they pulled that off, but at the same time, I kind of dig the made up cars that they've used in the series, because there's a consistency to them, throughout the whole like franchise, like like. You almost get to know like the GTA car manufacturers if you play them long enough. Yeah,
I like that just as well as I like the made up radio stations and stuff like that. Yeah. Because it adds its own world to it rather than just recreating something that's already real. Like, that's why I don't really like realistic paintings too much either. It's just like, I want you to make your own world and invite me into it, not see something that I've already seen. Like, why would I want to pay for that?
Right.
But for damaging cars and stuff like that in Grand Theft Auto, I hope they like take a mix of like new cars that they think of and like licensed cars, because then it's like, oh, I've never seen that before, but it must be real. Like, and it's just sort of like integrating the real world into the video game world. And I really want to see those two worlds get integrated more and more in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And it is kind of a weird world that they've created, because, like, San Andreas is the state of, like, that's their version of California. There's not a state of California in that world, but there is a state of Florida because, Vice City takes place in Vice City, Florida. Yeah. So it's kind of this weird thing. And then like Liberty City, I don't remember if that is in New York. I think it's in a different state also. So it's this really weird amalgamation of fictional and true to life stuff, but it's worked for him, in every game. So I'm not complaining. It's just kind of a weird thing to think about.
Yeah. Now we're going basically to Hollywood. So I don't know, like how much is going to be original. It looked like some of it is going to be like Compton area. Some of it's going to be like the Strip, and I don't know how much is going to be creative.
Yeah, well, and definitely, we've been to some of those places in San Andreas. I mean, I definitely saw the Vinewood sign.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. We'll get to that later, but so yeah, we've been playing a lot of games, obviously.
We've gotten a ton, and I have like way more even. I haven't talked about 3DS games, which I probably saved for another time because, the story's cool, but I'm still in the middle of that one too.
Yeah.
I haven't played it quite as much as I played a couple other PS3 games. I finally got to my Journey Collector's Edition, and that was just like one Saturday. I was like, okay, I know I can beat this right now. Might as well. So I went into that like with, open arms. I was like, this is going to be the best downloadable game ever. And sure enough, it's one of my favorites.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering because I definitely, I missed the boat on that one, but even just hearing all of the high praise, like everything that I saw of it seemed like, okay, like this looks really nice and everything, but I don't know, I'm not really getting anything out of it because it seems like it's just like a, run to the right and press a button occasionally.
Yeah, it is just like basically one button to communicate with other people who you meet along the way, but like there's a lot of secrets in the middle of the world and stuff like that you have to go back and forth to like find or journey through again to find. There's different like spiritual things that are just in the middle of nowhere in the desert or the later areas, and you can only get them like if you know where to go already in some places. Like you kind of snowboard down a mountain at one time and you have to go to the right direction, and if you forget you got to do it again, or if you went a different way, it's just like you see it and you're like, oh no, that's like a reason to come back. And you also, by going through it again like with another person, like get to help them out, and there's sort of like this intrinsic care that you have for the characters and the robes that you wear, because like it gets longer as you don't get hit, and there's no real reason why it like matters if it gets shorter, but you can like sort of have like this ego trip that, oh yeah, my cape or my ribbon, my bandana on the back is like the longest it could be. I have the biggest scarf.
My E-peen is huge.
Yeah. But it's cool to do that with another person who randomly pops in there, because it's like, I don't really know you, and the only way I can communicate with you is like this, basically. So that was fun, and going through it without listening to the developer commentary was like an experience in itself, for me, spiritual. But like when I listened to the developer commentary that came with the collector's edition, it was like I got this whole new side of it from like what the developers had done and what they changed and why they put certain things where they did. Like there was like random hieroglyphics, and they made it so that you could experience it either like spiritually, or you could like have other emotions while going through it. It was sort of like open-ended for a reason in a lot of different places. So it was nice to like hear the mindset that the person who created it went through. And like, I think that added to my overall experience, to be honest. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, the fact that they packaged it so well.
Yeah, I definitely need to go back through, Portal 1 and Portal 2 with the commentary turned on, because
yeah,
I've heard those are, excellent. I have yet to do it.
I bet. Like the problem with that is it's, I don't want to ruin like what the experience was.
Right. Yeah. Like also, especially on Portal 2, I love listening to Wheatley, and I don't know if like the commentary is going to like mess with that.
Yeah, totally. There's too many funny quips.
Yeah.
But like for Journey, it's like 3-hour game max, 2 to 3 hours. So it's like I didn't invest that much time in it. I'm not going to screw that much up. There's only ambient music in the background, really.
Yeah.
But that is a sweet soundtrack too. Nothing really like Zone of the Enders, which I also got, Julian. I know you got too. We got
Yes.
the awesome packaged art book.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah, it is good. It's golden. So I've played like half of that. The first one's really short anyway.
Yeah,
but
I'd forgotten how short. Like, it's kind of funny. People complain now about the price of games compared to the length, but it's like, guys, in 2001, I paid $49.99 for a game that I finished in 4 hours, and a Metal Gear Solid 2 demo that I played for 7 hours.
Yeah. Man, I hope that I didn't play the Rising demo yet, and I know you have, but I hope that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is very cool.
Yeah, I hope it lasts longer than Zone of the Enders 1 does. I basically bought it for the second runner though, because I'd never played that yet. So after I beat the first one, which I'm doing as a refresher, I'm pretty excited to go to that. I have a friend who like swears by it. I hope it's good.
Yeah, I haven't been a fan so far, but it's mainly been because, at least in the first, like, I probably played about an hour and a half of it. It's literally been fly into a room, get attacked by enemies, kill all the enemies, and then fly into another room that looks almost the same and do the same. And, I mean, definitely the first Zone of the Enders is repetitive, but at least you're going to different locales, and you're doing different objectives.
Yeah.
And so far, and again, this may not be the whole game, but what I've seen so far is it's been very much arena combat with, you know, not much else to do. But at the same time, like, well, first of all, the new anime intro that they did for the two games is incredible.
Oh, I know. It's great. It like made it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I was like, price of admission right there. And, but also seeing, cause again, being a retailer, like, I loved the PS2 games that had really good attract videos. So I remember the second runner video very vividly because I would run it all the time because it's a really awesome attract video. But the fact that, you know, I forget his name. The main character from the first game.
Jahuti?
Well, no, but the kid. He comes back as an adult and he's piloting, a mech called the Vic Viper, which actually transforms into the Vic Viper from the Gradius series, which is awesome! So I definitely want to see that.
Oh.
So I will continue with it, but I played it for a while between games and I was like, I need to put this down for a bit.
Yeah, me too. That was some good fan service, but I'm like so nostalgic toward it, and I didn't realize how little there actually was to the fighting system, because like when I was little, it was so much to see like these mechs like flying around each other, and it looked like so much work like that you were doing, but you were really only pressing like 2 buttons.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't get like much more than that throughout the entire game.
And the soundtrack is awesome too. Like,
Soundtrack's great, yeah.
You know, that intro song, or like the attract video also for the first game. It's funny, like, the guy that I used to work with, he was like, he's like, oh, that's my jam! And he'd start kind of grinding to it. Like, he just loved that song so much.
Yeah, I did too. Like, I used to, well, actually, even when I installed it this time, I just like kept it on in the background while I did other stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't want to play it yet. I was like writing on the computer and I was like, this brings me back.
Yeah, that's something that's been kind of lost this generation. I remember, and I wrote a blog about this back on when I was blogging on 1UP, but the attract video for Eco, has this haunting music, and it had the ability to literally well, not literally, but it transported me mentally to my store, because I remember, like, I had forgotten about that song, but I just happened to not press the start button right away for some reason. I was doing something else, and it came on, and I was just like dumbstruck. Like, I just couldn't move, cause like, I had completely forgotten about it, but it reminded me of like, getting to the store first thing in the morning, turning on the systems, and then putting in the games. I was like, I'm gonna put in Eco, and just have that going, and having that music playing in the early morning when it was really slow and stuff like that, and it made me emotional, because like, I was like, it transported me to a time in my life that's very special to me, and I was not prepared for it at all. And, like that type of stuff is very powerful, and I don't really see that with, games. Like, I've actually stopped, looking for them in modern games, because I used to actually let the games hang for a little bit to see what they show, and I don't really do that anymore, because I'm usually disappointed. It usually just stays at the title screen.
Well, maybe there's some like in-game music that'll do that for us in the future, or something we're not realizing yet, because I'm sure I didn't realize that as it was happening, like that the title screen music would take me back, Right. But when I opened it and played it, I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Just like when I used to play Ocarina of Time and listen to Linkin Park all the time.
That's an odd combination, sir.
I didn't always do that, but like seriously, anytime I hear Linkin Park, it reminds me of Zelda, which is better to me than most people.
It usually reminds me of Final Fantasy XI, because I'm a Dark Knight, and the ongoing joke is that Dark Knights are really emo, so we just kind of like sit in the corner with our black spiky armor and listen to Linkin Park and cut ourselves.
Heck yeah.
So, man. I have been playing a ton of games as well. Obviously,
touched on.
well, yeah, we definitely touched on some. Like, I'm not gonna talk about Halo much, because I really want to bounce it off of Rob when he gets back.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I'm disappointed in the story simply because as the beginning of a new trilogy by a new studio, I was hoping for them to take things into a really drastically different direction. And instead they played it a little bit too safe, and also really played it to the hardcore Halo fans. So it's like there were plenty of places where I felt like they were like, oh, you know this, right? You played Halo. You love Halo, right? And it's like, well, no, guys, I only played Halo 3, and I'm a little bit lost. And I really feel that this was a missed opportunity to do something new. Having Master Chief as a stranger in a strange land.
Yep.
But you don't get that. But oh man, it's a gorgeous game, Patrick. It's the type of game that makes me wonder if we need the next generation.
Yeah, that's another reason why I was like okay with buying a PS3. I was like, hey, like I'm gonna be okay in this generation for another 4 years or so. Like I can reinvest in what we have now, because frankly, the Wii U's hardware does not look like that much of a step above. So like,
right. And the good thing about that is that people are going to be making games for the Wii U, but that means that they're going to be porting them to the PS3 and the Xbox 360. So we're going to be getting some really good titles for the older systems for quite a while. And that's kind of exciting to me also.
Yeah, and it's not like where I can notice that it's really bad graphics like I could on PS2 and PS1. Well, at the beginning of PS2, you did think it was good for a little bit, but by the first year, like, you could see the cracks and stuff like that. And for this, it's like, it's okay right now. It's a good simulation level of graphics.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, I'm just like, why don't you put more research and development into making it more immersive than just playing with a controller,
Yeah.
Like, I can wait if you come out with something groundbreaking after 20 years of, like, study. We can stay here.
Yeah, I honestly, like, as much as I keep saying that I want something shiny and new, and that I had to fight with myself to not buy a Wii U just because of that. At the same time, stuff like Halo 4, stuff like the Devil May Cry demo that just came out, and then seeing the trailer for Grand Theft Auto, which we'll get to in depth later, like, all of those games look so amazing to me that it really makes me want to kind of pump the brakes. Say like, hey, let's explore this a little more. Like, maybe it's not a bad thing that there's a fourth Gears of War coming out, and another God of War coming out, because there's still gas in the tank here.
Yeah, well, I'm sure not going to play another God of War, because that is just too much action for me at this point. They need some more story, which is the best part. Like, the end of God of War 3 was great.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this, and I feel that instead of pinning everything on Kratos, they should pin everything on the God of War and maybe explore different gods of war. Like maybe explore the Norse mythology or the Mayan mythology or the Egyptian mythology.
What a novel idea to actually have the main character or the main title of the story involved in the actual game.
Yeah, because, the first two games were about that.
Yeah.
And, I feel that, well, by the third game, I don't really care about Kratos anymore anyway.
Yeah.
But just having, like, there's certain things you need to keep, obviously. The gameplay, the way things move and feel, the epic scale, the score, stuff like that. But, let's bring a different pantheon of gods in there. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm more into godly type stuff anyway. That's probably my favorite part of Assassin's Creed 3, which is the whole first civilization reveal at the end of this usual storylines, like telling us, these gods that have been dormant but want the people now to see and appreciate, like the fruits of the labors of the people who lived at first and stuff like that. Like, I'm a human enough. I don't need to be a human anymore. I could be a god. Let's do that. Like, I don't want to be this half human, half god Kratos guy.
And speaking of that, of being human, you can also be too human, which is, I've been playing that as well for our new podcast, Backloggers Anonymous. The first episode's already up. Second one should be out soon. If you guys haven't checked it out, please do so and play along with us.
Checked it out already. Sorry.
What? I'm sorry?
Y'all should have checked that out already.
Well, yeah, definitely, but I definitely wanted to pimp it out. Especially because that game, it's a long story and you can listen to it on the Backloggers podcast, but I think that game's alright. It's not the worst game ever made. It's not, great, but it's got some really interesting ideas that I really wish I could see explored fully, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen, because Silicon Knights is probably done. But, going back, like I said, I played Halo 4. Then I played Painkiller Hell and Damnation for review on the PC. And right after that, I played Call of Duty Black Ops 2 for review. So that was a good 3 weeks straight of just shooting dudes. And shooting lots of dudes. And especially after Black Ops 2, that story is really intense. And I was like, I need to not shoot dudes for a little bit. I need something uplifting. I need something light and fun.
You need a journey.
Well, I was looking on my shelf of my backlog, and I was looking through, and I was like, nah, this is shooting, this is action, this is shooting. Let me see. It's like, oh, Majin in the Forsaken Kingdom, which I bought on Black Friday 2 years ago, and it's still sealed. Yeah. So I cracked that one open, and that was just what the doctor ordered. Majin in the Forsaken Kingdom is a beautiful, glorious, just fun game. If you're not familiar, it's a Japanese-made game. You play this thief who's trying to combat the darkness that's taking over the kingdom, but to do so, he's trying to find the legendary Majin, who's the guardian of the kingdom. And when you find him, he's not what you're expecting at all. He's not the super-powered beast that has been foretold in the legends. He's actually kind of a bumbling, happy-go-lucky, giant, but he's not huge. He's probably 12 feet tall. And, loves eating fruit and, has a very simple mind, but at the same time a very strong heart and very in touch with the earth and everything. And it's just this really nice kind of buddy story that blossoms throughout the game. It's kind of light Zelda-style puzzle solving along with some combat. Yeah. The way that the thief and the Majin interact with each other is really great. Like, if you solve a particularly intricate puzzle, they'll do this nice little dance, together. It's like a synchronized thing. It's just a really feel-good game, and there's far too few of those, where you just put in a game and just have a really good time. I had a smile on my face the whole time I was playing it. And, it's almost like a Nintendo game in that way.
Yeah, it sounds like it made you a kid again.
Yeah, definitely. And, also, as the achievement whore that I am, I got 990 of the 1,000 points. I'm just missing one achievement, which I can go back and get easily. So that's kind of awesome. I think that's the only time that I've ever completed a game, and gotten all of the points or most of the points in one go. So
sweet.
So achievement whores that want to play something light and fluffy, go get Majin in the Forsaken Kingdom. It's really good, and it was criminally overlooked.
Yeah, are those puzzles difficult, or do you think people will be able to breeze through them?
You can breeze through most of them. If you want to get everything, those puzzles are a little more intricate. So it's a pretty easy game. I won't lie. But it's one of those things where it's worth it just to experience everything.
Yeah, it's just fun. You don't really need to be challenged all the time if you're having a good time.
Right, and there's definitely some challenge to it. I think I think your mileage will vary depending on if you play games like that a lot. I mean, obviously, I've played a lot of adventure games with, block moving puzzles and stuff like that. And this is more traversal based where, the Majin is big and he can't get to places that you can. So you need to kind of find ways to open the path up for him. And so you'll have to like kind of figure a way to snake around the room and at the same time, you can't really kill the enemies without the Majin with you. So those elements are kind of stealth based. So, it's got a lot going for it and it's a really great game. I'm actually considering doing a review, for the site just because I feel that it needs to be told.
Yeah, like a rewind or something, or
yeah,
MIA.
Definitely. And I guess we'll go ahead and transition into the next part because I kind of want to talk about the holidays and stuff. But Patrick, do you ever do the like the Black Friday stuff? Like, is that something that you try to seek out?
I didn't really. I don't really do too much of that, but that's just because I mostly can't wait to get stuff until then. Like this year, I was sort of bummed actually because the big deals were on like Need for Speed Most Wanted and I picked that up the day it came out, and same thing for I think Assassin's Creed and a couple of the other ones that I had gotten. Like Black Ops 2 didn't have anything, so I was okay with that.
Yeah.
I was like, thank God at least something wasn't price dropped to $35 that I already had. But the only thing I did was like on Turkey Day I had some friends over and after our dinner, we went to Target and we got in line and we looked at all the stuff there. Like, I was about to get some, movies like, American Pie for $1. They had like all the Seinfeld series for $4 a season.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. So we were going to get those, but like, then we looked at the line and it was like, whoa, this is not worth it.
Right.
Essentially, I am waiting in line and getting paid to do that, and that's what's like taking down the price because it would be like another job if I got in line for that Target. The line was from the cashier all the way back to the end of the store, and it wrapped around a little bit.
Man.
And I'm not talking like straight back. I'm talking like it went through like little parts of the aisles that were like about the same size as how long the cashier is, like down that side of it to that end, and then like into the part where you can get food. Like
wow.
The aisle where you can get food is like, damn, I might need some food if I'm gonna wait this long.
and then there's the bathroom situation where it's like, oh no, I don't want to lose my spot in line.
Yeah, so we just ended up being like, it's not worth it, and we like threw down all of our stuff, unfortunately.
Oh.
But yeah, that was my bad Black Friday experience. How about you?
Yeah, I've never done like the actual like go out and try to like wait in line at Black Friday, partially because working in retail, I've worked every Black Friday. I happened to be off this year, but for a hot second, I thought about actually waiting in line just to see what they had, but I decided to go ahead and just do what I normally do, which is just like hit up Amazon like at 11:01 my time and see what's going on. And, I'm happy to say that I made it relatively unscathed this year. Cause obviously, like I said, I bought Majin 2 years ago at Black Friday and it was still sealed. So that tells you like what happens. I just buy a ton of crap and then it just sits on the shelf for a long period of time. But, I picked up 2 Blu-rays for $4 each. I got Iron Man 2 and Sherlock Holmes 2. So that was awesome, because Iron Man 2 is one of the only Avengers movies that I needed to have the whole set.
Yeah, and how is that one? I heard it's not so nice.
I like it a little less every time that I see it, but I mean, it's still a good movie. It's got some really nice stuff to it. I think it's just a little bit too busy, and it's unfortunate that the bad guy is, like, his suit of armor that he comes up with is basically, it looks just like the suit of armor from the first movie, which is really bizarre. It's another dude in a really big, gray, hulking suit. Like,
old looking.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But seeing the war...
Don Cheadle in something that I don't like, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, it is not a bad movie by any means. Like, people who have said that it's like crap, that's just hyperbolic talking. You know, it's just not nearly as good as the first movie.
Yeah,
but I definitely recommend checking it out, especially, cause you just gotta see all the threads into the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then game-wise, I picked up Spec Ops: The Line at Rob's,
oh, finally, Rob's gonna love you.
Oh yeah, picked that up for $15.
Oh.
And, that was the Black Friday, like, overnight. And then, okay, here's the funny story. I was like, oh, I'm off on Friday, and I've got like a 4-day weekend, so I don't have to go to bed tonight. I'm just gonna play 2 Human until the wee hours. And then I got called at 6 a.m. and asked if I could come into work. So on 3 hours of sleep, I went into work, and I was like brain dead, and of course nobody's there because everybody's out shopping.
Yeah.
And so I'm checking my Amazon app looking for deals. And, I was like, I wanted WWE 13 because they were going to have it for $25. And I was like, I'm ready. I am ready. Like, it was going on sale in like a minute. And then we had like a truck come up and I had to like, mess with that. And so I get onto the app and it's been like 30 seconds after and there's already like 50% claimed. I'm like, holy crap. So I hit the button and it's a 73% claimed. I'm like, okay, buy it now. And it says, I'm sorry, this has already been claimed. And I was like, what?
That is like not even true. Like they didn't even put enough copies out of that. To make it look like there was a deal.
It must have been like far too few copies or something. But then again, I also kind of blame the Giant Bomb for that, because they had this really awesome quick look where they showed the story mode that you can mess with, where you write your own stories, which is why I wanted this game so bad. And so I think that there was more interest in that game than normal. And I didn't want to pay full price, but $25, like, yes please. So I missed out on that, but I did pick up XCOM for $25.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. On sale, so I didn't get that, but.
Yeah, it was fluctuating. I saw it go back up to like 50 and then down to 40. It was all over the place. Same thing with Skyrim. Skyrim was going up and down.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Still waiting on that though, because they haven't put all the DLC together, and the Dragon DLC just came out, so.
Yeah, honestly, I feel bad for you, because it sounds like the PS3 version of that game is just horrendous.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still hearing that the patches have not fixed it. And I just saw a headline today that said that the new DLC that's where all their attention is focused, so they're not even worried about the PS3 version at this point.
Yeah, I used to play them all on the computer, but now that I have a Mac, I can't really do it on that, so.
Yeah, because I was going to say you should get it on the computer, but then I remembered your Mac situation.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Like having one. But like we said, we have big backlogs already, and I don't really need to plop myself into that world again.
Yeah. And, to that end, like, I'm at this point where, like, I need to really, like, save some money. I've been kind of broke lately. That's why I've been doing these really good deals, because that way, I'm getting, like, a lot for my money.
Oh, yeah.
But even then, I need to stop doing that. I've decided that I'm not going to really spend any money on any extra stuff for about 6 months, games included, which is going to be tough, because February alone in 2013 is poised to be one of the best months in video game history if all those games come out at the same time. But even so, like, I've got a big backlog, I've got plenty of stuff that I can play, and it'll save me money. But with all that said, I felt this very strong need earlier this week that I need Far Cry 3. Because everything that I've heard about that game has just sounded fantastic.
Yeah, it's getting great reviews.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, so this happened. This isn't really a Black Friday thing, but a little tangent. But yesterday, I checked Best Buy's website, and they were doing a special on trade-ins. It was get $40 in trade-in for Black Ops 2, which I was already done with. Mm-hmm. And then they were also doing a reward zone thing where it was get 50% extra on any game traded in. And so I traded in a couple games plus that, and it applied to everything, including the Black Ops deal.
Yeah.
So I came out of there with like $90 in credit, and I was like, Far Cry 3 mine! And the guy at the counter, he was like, you picked a really good day to do this. And I was like, yeah, I know. And
wow.
It was also double.
So you got like $60 for Black Ops 2?
Basically. And it was also double reward zone points that day.
Woo!
And that means that I'm getting a $5 gift certificate soon because I only needed $3 more to get my next certificate. So it was just win all the way around.
Black Ops 2 because like when I got it, I had so many certificates and like money back guarantees, and like I got $20 back for being in the game reward unlocked thing just by pre-ordering it, that it cost me $8.
Nice. Yeah, I really feel like if you play your cards right and you just pay attention, there are some times when you can really just kind of put the screws to Best Buy with their reward zone program.
Yeah, I love it. And it's awesome that they have those opportunities for the select few who pay attention a lot. It's like they're rewarding you.
Yeah, definitely. And I know they do it because they're trying to get you into the store to buy other stuff, and sometimes that works on me. I almost bought a Christmas gift for a friend, but I just wanted to kind of wait and see because I don't know if that's what I'm going to get him. But yeah, I just came out of there I was like practically skipping out of the store. I was like, I really wanted this game, I couldn't afford it, but I got it for free.
So how is it? Have you played?
I haven't popped it in yet. I finished Majin last night, and I'm trying to do some Game of the Year mop-up, because I realized that I missed out on a lot of the big games this year because I've been playing a lot of like smaller games for review. So I started playing Spec Ops today, and I've heard that that's like about a 6-hour game or so. And then I really want to get The Walking Dead and play through that.
Yeah.
I feel that that's like one of those games where, one, everybody's talking about it in Game of the Year contention, but two, I don't want things spoiled for me. And I feel that if I don't play it soon, I'm going to learn everything about it.
I didn't realize it was being talked about as a Game of the Year candidate. Walking Dead, really?
Yeah, people have been saying like I saw, Twitter feeds and stuff, like after the last episode came out, and they were like, holy crap, that was like the most amazing thing that I played this year. Game of the Year by far. And like that's just really impressive, because I've heard the hype building for that game, but it seems like it just comes together in the end in a way that needs to be experienced. So I'm definitely going to do that, and then I want to pop in Dishonored and Far Cry for at least a little bit before the end of the year.
Oh yeah, because you got Dishonored too. Have you played that much?
Just about an hour or so. I played that after my game depression after Red Johnson's Chronicles, so I wasn't in a good space mentally when I played
it. Yeah, I bet.
So yeah, it's just kind of a lot of just trying to feverishly play stuff towards the end of the year, because we're doing our Game of the Year, voting and stuff, and I was like, I don't know what to nominate. I didn't play a lot of this stuff, and I feel really bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've just been trying to play some of those end of the year games and stuff, and just try to get a sampling of them and see, if anything changes. I still feel that for me personally, well, no, I'm not going to say it yet, because we're going to do a Game of the Year episode of Nerds Without Pants, and well, I'll save it for that. But besides the Black Friday stuff, like, do you have any like really fun like holiday memories from gaming, like either Thanksgiving-ish or Christmas-ish?
Damn, not really. Oh, well, I was like one of those kids who got the N64, and when he got it, he hadn't had a system in like 3 months, and he started like jumping himself across the room and like flopping on the floor with the box and stuff like that, just like that N64 kid.
So you were that kid.
Yeah, I think that video was mine. Like I have something that's like the exact same thing except with my head instead of another kid's head. Like they totally stole that from my house and doctored it, didn't they?
Yeah, it was like just some really awesome video editing.
Yeah, it was them. But seriously, we have that on videotape, and that's probably my best memory. Like, after I got that, I just played Super Mario all day, and like my best friend came over all the time, and I was real little, and like, that was all I could have ever wanted, and I got it. My parents have been telling me for months that like, we can't afford a system and blah, blah, blah. And then Santa got it for me.
How long did it take you to wear out the sticks?
Man, like, crust got into it and everything, but I kept my controllers until the very end.
Oh, nice.
But, I always had to get more of them so I didn't have to use the bad ones. But I think I had about 6 controllers or 8. But
did you mix and match the colors? That was a pretty popular thing where people would like take them apart and do the two-tone.
Yeah. I had some friends who did that, but I never really did that myself. I was always like a hands-off kind of guy. Save the hands-on stuff for GoldenEye and Mario Kart before I realized that it was a sham of a game.
Yeah, I'm a Super Mario Kart purist.
Yeah, well, I'm a Mario Kart 7 guy now. That's the best one, I think.
Oh, really? I don't know, man. The Super Nintendo one's pretty good.
Well, they have 4 of the Super Nintendo tracks in Mario Kart 7, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And it's like less forgiving too, so. Anyway. That's about all I've got for like holiday stories. I'm really pining myself and trying to gain some extra time here because I haven't really thought of anything, but what about yourself?
Well, I mean, obviously, as I've said before, like, I don't celebrate Christmas or anything like that, cause, raised Jehovah's Witness, and that's never been a big deal for me. Like, I was never like, oh, I wish I was getting a Christmas present this year. Mm. But, I do have a holiday related memory or story that, I think is kind of fun. Let's rewind the clock to Christmas season of 1999. Remember this time, if you will. The Dreamcast had just come out. Pokemon was at the height of its popularity. And there was a Game Boy Color shortage, in effect, in large part because of Pokemon.
That made me reminded of something after you tell your story.
Cool. So we had just started to branch out, at Game Fellas. We had our store at Barton Creek Mall in Austin, and we had just opened a store a couple months earlier in San Antonio. And then about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, the owner got a call from another mall in Austin begging her to open a seasonal store because someone had just pulled out and they needed something in there. So she was like, oh, sure, we can do that. We can set up a store in 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So, and we did it. Like, we did a little bit of it leading up to it, but on Thanksgiving Day, myself, the owner, my boss, Ben, and my friend Joe, who I've known for 15 years, pretty much put together a store in one day. Like, we got there early in the morning and left late at night, Like, that was our Thanksgiving, was setting up a new store. And so we have these 3 stores now, and this was the first time that my boss had really had to order for more than one store. So instead of having it shipped separately to the 3 stores, he had everything come centrally to the main store. And then we would have like the other 2 people in charge like come in and get their stock at the end of the day. So we would get these huge orders of games and systems and Pokemon cards and Pokemon this and that, everything Pokemon you can think of. And they would just sit in the middle of the store because we were so freaking busy that we just couldn't get to it until closing time. So my boss would do the paperwork. And then right around midnight or so, we'd start unpacking everything and get it all processed and everything by about 2 a.m. And it just got worse and worse and worse as the season went on, to the point that I ended up working a 40-hour shift straight because there was no point in going home because we would finish everything at like 7 a.m. The mall would open up again at 9. It's like, well, we'll just like take a cat nap and we'll get back to it. So I have patchy memories of that Christmas season because I worked myself until I passed out, literally. it was the day before Christmas Eve. I was working at the secondary store, had to go close at the main store, and I was like, guys, I can't do it. I gotta go home. And I went home and went comatose for about 12 hours. And then came back and found out that my boss and my friend Joe had not left. Like, they were still there. They had hit like hour 48 at that point. And I felt so bad. So like Christmas Eve when we closed up, I was like, guys, go home. I'm going to worry about cleaning up. And I stayed for about like 3 or 4 hours after we closed, just trying to put the store back in order because I just felt so bad that I couldn't hang in there with them.
Wow, it's nice how close you guys were. I don't usually hear that from like retail professionals.
Oh know? Yeah, well, this was an independent store, so it definitely felt like, any input that you put into the store, was something for you and for everything as a whole. So yeah, I mean, there were times where, just for because it needed to be done, I would work overnight cleaning up. Like, not during the holiday season, but like, I would be like, this place is looking really jacked up and I don't have time to do it during the day. I'm just going to stay all night and do it. And it's really fun to see the mall walkers come in at 6 a.m. and look at you and look at you funny. It's like, what? You've never seen a guy cleaning the store before?
Yeah, you're in here too. But yeah, I thought you were going to say, yeah, so we didn't have any time. We just threw all the Pokemon stuff in the middle of the store and people would like jump on it and trying to get like all the cards, like the first edition.
Oh man, practically. I mean, it was definitely a feeding frenzy with that stuff. And we had just started doing Pokemon trading also for the cards, and that was a headache and a half. Oh man, it was something. and also just a tangent, because the Game Boy Color shortage was in effect. We were pushing the Neo Geo Pocket Color really hard.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because that's all we had. I mean, we all legitimately loved the Neo Geo Pocket Color. It was a great little system. They had been coming out with some great games, and there was some awesome stuff on the horizon. And then the following year is when they said, we're discontinuing the Neo Geo Pocket. And I still to this day feel bad because I sold that so aggressively. I was like, no, like the Game Boy Color has a lot of games, but the Neo Geo is a newer system. It's a really nice form factor. It's a more powerful system, and the games coming out for it are really awesome. And then they just stopped coming out.
Man, that's like, it's so bad because I see that in like Game Developer Story, the video game for iOS, and I'm just like, I'm not developing for that. I know it's going to happen.
Right.
Sure enough, 1 year later, discontinued.
Yeah.
That made me feel bad because there was so many things that I wanted coming out for that.
Oh yeah, the Neo Geo Pocket was awesome.
Yeah, but it never got to a price like low enough for me to get at the time, like to use my own salary for it. I was like not quite convinced. I'm glad that I waited.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't Nintendo.
Yeah, in hindsight, like I can't blame anybody who passed on it, but at the same time, like, playing stuff like Card Fighters Clash and Biomotor Unitron and Dark Arms, there were some really cool games. And then when I saw like stuff later on that was in production that got canceled, I was like, that would have been so awesome on this system.
Yeah, well, as far as the Game Boy Color went, like I had my own story for that too. I was at like Rainforest Cafe, and it was like in Chicago, and it was during like the holiday season, and we had been looking for the Game Boy Color all day and couldn't find it, and I was like, oh, I really need this, Mama. I'm a little spoiled brat. And then we ate dinner, whatever, went to like one more store that night. It was just like a mall, and it wasn't even like a game store. Like you'd think like all the game stores would have big backlogs of Nintendo colors, but like we get there and it's just like one more sitting up on the shelf, and my mom's like, I'm not even gonna joke about this. I'm getting it right now. I don't know when it'll be here again. Like we went to 15 different stores and haven't found it, and here it is. Oh my God. And then like I went nuts for it, and I'm like, but Mom, I need a game. So she got me a game too, and I got Link's Awakening DX. So.
Oh, that's a great one to get.
Yeah, it was great. That was I think that was probably my first Zelda game, so it was difficult.
Yeah. It's actually one of the only Zelda games that I've completed.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I like it. It's a trippy one.
Yeah, I loved Link's Awakening. That was back in the time when I used to make my own video game soundtracks by putting the tape recorder up to the speakers for games. So I had like a cassette that had like music from Faxanadu and Final Fantasy on NES and Link's Awakening on Game Boy. Yeah, cause I just really loved the music in that game. And I played through it like multiple times.
That's hilarious.
I was that level of nerd.
You were that guy?
I was that guy. But yeah, it's kind of funny because once Pokemon came out, every Christmas season, the Game Boy would become a hard to find commodity. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know, it just started something for Nintendo. Because it was funny, before I started working at Game Fellas, I remember shopping there and they had a copy of Tamagotchi for Game Boy, and I was like, oh, isn't that cute? They still make Game Boy games. That's so funny. And then Pokemon happened and it completely revitalized the Game Boy.
That was one of the few times that I actually had memories of playing a game with my cousins, because we go over to my uncle's place every Christmas, and like one Christmas they got like Pokemon Yellow, and they were like trying to get all into that, and I was like, isn't it just like Pokemon Blue and Red? And they're like, ooh, don't even look at me like that. I just got this. Like, but it's just Pikachu you get to start with. I already have a Pikachu.
But this one follows you around.
Yeah. You can actually see it. But like, then we had to face off against each other, and I won. Because they used a new game, and I used the one I'd been playing for months. But that was fun, because like I didn't usually used to do that with my cousins, and like you could actually link up and stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff was, really cool, and I mean, that kind of cemented Nintendo's dominance in that market. Even when we were making fun of the DS before it came out, we were like, what is this crap? Like, we should have known better, because, going from the Game Boy to the Game Boy Advance, like, they basically couldn't do any wrong in that market. I think they faltered a little bit with the 3DS, just because I think they banked on something that ended up being a fad for people, with the 3D technology.
Yeah.
But even so, like, now that they've lowered the price and come out with some more games, like, once again, it's just a smash hit for them.
Well, I gotta say, I still like the 3D factor, especially in the newer games I've been playing, like Professor Layton. It just pops. Like all the animations that you see in the different games, like Sticker Star and stuff like that, you can totally add levels of depth in ways that you can't if you just use like, I don't know how, like 3D computer generated stuff. And like if you just do like a 2D simple drawing, it just will pop so much more, and you don't even have to put as much work into it. That like, I think they're finding better ways to utilize the system, and like if people give it another chance, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that like the second like round and third round of games for the system have had a noticeable improvement in the 3D, and that's cool to hear. And I don't think there's nothing to worry about with the 3DS at this point. Like, I think it's going to do just fine. There's going to be some great games coming out for it. There already have been.
Yeah. There's going to be some ones in the future that I've been waiting for 2 years, like Animal Crossing.
Right. That new Fire Emblem too.
Yeah, but, that's going to be too hard.
I just can't justify it. I mentioned that, in the comments for the most recent PB and Jason that, I have too many, like, GBA and DS and PSP games that I haven't played.
Well, once they remake Final Fantasy VI in 3D, I'm sure you'll get it.
Yeah.
Just like they did for 4 and 5.
Yeah, this is, you're not wrong. I have this compulsive need to own all of the different versions of Final Fantasy. Jesse thinks I'm insane, and I probably am, but, I don't know, I can't help it.
And Nintendo knows you. They're going to do it.
I still want one company to go ahead and license all the games and put them out on one system, because I would love to have them all in a row on the shelf next to each other, because they almost did that on the Game Boy Advance, and then they stopped and they moved over to the DS. And I was like, you guys messed up now. I've got Final Fantasy 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 on the GBA, and then I have to go to my DS to play 3.
So do you have like your own shrine? Like, Rob has his shrine for Comedian, you got your shrine for Final Fantasy?
No, I actually have an Optimus Prime shrine. Which is packed up since, I moved out of my apartment because I don't have room for it here. But, But yeah, that was my thing, was that I would buy every version of Optimus Prime that would come out.
Yeah.
And I had that set up on my dresser, so it was this really nice,
It was
homage.
cool to see in Comic Book Men that in the penultimate, mid-season finale episode, the guy brought in Optimus Prime, and it was like the original one, like the truck, the long truck that he had, and it was like in mint condition, and like they're like, how much? And it's like $80. Whoa. It's not even in a box. So.
Yeah.
I happen to have that one at home, so
what,
like the only Optimus Prime that I have. I got it from a guy who was like 10 years old or 13 years old when I was like 5 years old or 4 years old, and he just gave me a bunch of G.I. Joes and stuff and a couple of Transformers, and I got the original Optimus Prime in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of the greatest gifts that I ever got, kind of talking about gift giving and stuff. When I was a kid, like Optimus Prime was my hero, as I've said on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
And more than anything, I wanted Optimus Prime, but we couldn't afford him. Just could not buy him. Anytime that I got a Transformer, it was one of the small ones like Bumblebee.
Uh-huh.
And, obviously the toy line went and never got my Optimus Prime. But then in the, early 90s, they came out with Transformers Generation 2, where they started re-releasing some of the older toys. They kind of repainted some of them and they tweaked them a little bit, also to make them less dangerous for kids. But, they came out with Optimus Prime, and I remember telling my mom, I was like, hey mom, like, look, remember like Optimus Prime? I wanted him so bad. Here he is. Like, he's back.
You have a chat.
But I didn't, that's all I said. I was like, it was my first case of nostalgia where I was like 12 and like I was having nostalgia for the first time. But, one day I came home from school and there was this wrapped package on my bed. And I opened it up and it was Generation 2 Optimus Prime. Mm-hmm. And that was like the coolest thing, that my mom remembered after all those years that, she couldn't afford it for me then, but she got it for me, when he came out again.
That's great.
So, he was the first piece.
Say, you got your wish fulfilled.
Yeah, he was the first piece in the Prime Shrine.
I'm thinking about starting my own shrine soon, but not for Comedian, who's got a new comic book out this week, and it sold out in my comic book store the first day, I think.
I'm sure Rob may have bought all of the copies.
Yeah. Instead, it's actually going to be Sandman, I think. I got the #1 Sandman rated 9.0 for like pretty cheap. I think I got a good deal. It was like $25 only.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. I'm like, this is going to be the first piece. I want to get some of those statues, but man, they're like $300 each. They're so limited.
Yeah, there are definitely some statues I would love to have, but that'll have to wait until later in life.
It's like, curse you, Neil Gaiman, you're not even from Britain. You're from Minnesota. You sell your products as if they were from pounds and not dollars.
Well, that's definitely a good thing to shrine, and I think another thing that us collectively, I mean, Rob obviously isn't here, but a game series that we would probably all put into a shrine is definitely Grand Theft Auto, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the new trailer, because holy crap, that trailer looks amazing, Patrick.
Yeah, dude.
Going back to, me saying that I don't know if we need, like, the next generation, I can't believe how good Grand Theft Auto 5 looks, especially because 4 looks so amazing. And this kind of blows it out of the water. But I wanted to get your thoughts, like, what did you think about the tone and what we got to learn from the mechanics of the game from this new trailer?
Well, I mean, it looks so much more immersive even than the last one. And the last one, like, you would go into the clothes shop, for instance, and you didn't seem like you had that many options. And, like, the first time I went in there, I was able to buy everything that they had available, like, to change my character. But in this one, like, how you can create gangs, I think I heard, and stuff like that. And it looks like you could, I'm guessing, buy property and stuff like that. By one of the trailers that I saw, it looks like there's so many more options to customize, like, your actual experience. So I don't know what to say. Like, I'm lost for words because, like, I didn't even really like the Grand Theft Auto series that much. I thought it, like, looked so cartoony when they did San Andreas last time. I'm sure you differ with that, but, like, now it's like I really want to go to Vinewood.
Yeah, I mean, I think San Andreas was pushing the PS2 a little bit harder than it could handle. Because it's not, even when it came out, I thought that it wasn't a great looking game. I think Vice City, was probably the best looking of the PS2 games.
Mm-hmm.
It's also my favorite of the 3, even though I've only finished 3 out of those games. I've only finished 3 and 4. Because I always get to a mission where it hinges on my driving or flying skills, and those skills are not with me, so I just get stuck. But no, I think that seeing, like, Vinewood and Los Santos and stuff reimagined for, like, 7th generation graphics it just looks phenomenal. I don't know, like, and the facial expressions on the characters, like, I like the idea of having this cast of characters from, like, different walks of life that are kind of having to work together. And I think my favorite one is, like, the older, like, former mafia guy who has his son that, I don't know, like I'm hoping the son is one of the characters that's major, because just that one little scene where he's like, we're gonna bounce! And his dad is like, bounce. We're bouncing now? That's what you do, is bounce. I don't know, like I just like, I like that a lot, and I hope there's a lot of that, in the game. It seems to have a little bit more of a lighthearted, humorous tint to it.
And that can work for or against you, though. Like in Assassin's Creed 3, they have a lot of the old, or a lot of the historical backgrounds and informations, like, with a little bit of a humorous tint. And I'm like, it never was like this before. Before, it was like they would tell me the information and I felt like a scholar. But in this new one, it's sort of like a lot of it's making fun of scholars. So in some ways, it detracts from me, so far at least.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, like, they've learned a couple things from the Saints Row games. Yeah. I'm not saying that GTA 5 has to be, like, completely nutso like Saints Row the Third was, but I remember when 4 came out, there were a lot of people who said, like, because Saints Row 2 came out around the same time, and they were like, Grand Theft Auto 4 is just way too real, and then Saints Row 2 is just fun, and Grand Theft Auto 4 seems to forget the fun part of it.
Yeah, because they used to have, like, you could change all those weapons, you could have, like, chainsaws, stuff like that, like, at any time, and, like, my friends would just go around killing different people because they thought it was fun.
Right. And while I appreciated the story of Nico and everything and the character relations.
Yeah, that's what I really love.
Oh yeah, definitely. But at the same time, I would like to see them get a little bit more of the fun in there, especially with the driving mechanics and have it be a little bit more customizable. Because on Saints Row the Third, while there is a story, you have a lot more freedom to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go mess around. I'm gonna call in, like, a VTOL and just, like, fly around the city for a while.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, like, obviously they're not gonna do this, but, I like the freedom to be like, you know what, instead of being this macho dude, I'm going to be a Russian female waif, and actually have that reflected in the storyline where she even speaks in broken Russian for her lines, like they're completely read differently than a different voice. Stuff like that is really tongue in cheek, and I hope that GTA 5 pulls a little bit of that with some restraint.
Me too. I mean, I think they will, because they're not a year-long iteration, which is sometimes what can detract from quality, but Instead, they chose to, not release one since the beginning of the PlayStation cycle before trophies were even involved, really.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's been a long time. And, I'm simultaneously excited and terrified by the fact that they said that the real estate in the game is bigger than San Andreas, Red Dead Redemption, and GTA 4 combined. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be a month.
Yeah. I mean, and the fact that it's vertical, but also, up and down, because you can actually explore the ocean. It's like,
what? I didn't know that.
yes, you can scuba dive.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm hoping there's an achievement where you jump out of a plane and then into the water and then like swim to the bottom. Like that'd be really fun.
What are you gonna find in the bottom? There's gonna be like buried treasure and stuff like that. It's gonna be funny.
You're gonna go to the bottom and find Saints Row the 4th. You're like, there's this whole other game in here from a different company. That's how hardcore we are.
Oh, I thought you meant like they would be joking that it's trash.
Oh, or that, yeah.
Yeah. I can see that happening.
You'll actually, oh no, well, just to keep it in the Rockstar family, you'll find a doorway underwater that leads you to Red Dead Redemption 2. Or for Rob's sake, it'll transport you to Bully 2. He'll like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, that would be great if you could like go through school in Grand Theft Auto 5. Like it would be like adding Bully in the middle of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. They'd run into a whole bunch of issues with like violence against kids there.
They would. Do you think they like that? I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time to go ahead and like crack that level.
Yeah, how are they going to create controversy this time, That's what I always think.
And plus, I sometimes kids just need to be roughed up a bit.
You heard it here first, friends.
That's right. Julian Titus of Nerds Without Pants condones violence against children.
This was his motive when 3 months from now.
More like teens, but.
Yeah.
So, yeah, any other thoughts on GTA?
No, I was thinking that just about does it.
Yeah, other than the fact that I want it yesterday. Actually, that's not true. I can wait. I'm going to have to clear out like about a 90-day period for that one, so.
I'm just waiting for the big launch. They always do big launches, like having a stunt car go into the ocean or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I know, Patrick, you got your PS3 at midnight, and I picked up Halo 4 at the midnight launch, which I actually haven't done that since Grand Theft Auto 4. And
yeah.
that was a lot of fun, just being in that line and having that excitement build, and I got the last set of Halo 4 dog tags at the checkout counter, which there's some really nice dog tags. They are the best video game dog tags that I have.
Yeah.
And I have multiple
dog tags you have.
I've got 3 different pairs. I have one for SOCOM that I got from one of my E3 trips, and then I have one from the Metal Gear Solid Japanese Premium Pack.
Right. I was thinking you might.
So yeah, that's the crown jewel.
Yeah, I like going to midnight things as long as I don't have to get up too early the next day, because you get to meet new people and they usually ask for your PSID, or, they're just laughing at your stupid jokes because they really want to get this game that they don't have. Or, you find someone new to listen to the show or something, and, that happens.
Yeah, I definitely wish that I had some, like, business cards or something, so I could have, like, I actually, thought about trying to interview people, as a segment for the show, but I don't have, like, a portable recorder. But that might be something that I get later on down the line, just in case.
Yeah, iPhone 5, man.
Right? Yeah, I guess I have my iPhone. I guess I could have done something with that. I hadn't thought of that.
I don't know how it translates that well, but like I heard a Nerdist podcast with Guillermo del Toro, and someone forgot to record it, and they worked it well enough, with changing the volume and stuff afterward, that you could, get by.
Yeah. Well, that's just unprofessional. I can't believe that somebody would forget to hit record on a podcast. I would never do that.
Yeah, I would just quit that podcast.
So, folks, if you're wondering why Patrick's not on the next episode, we had a little issue at the beginning.
Yeah,
But, yeah, so I guess that's a show.
Yes, we did it. We did it!
I hope you enjoyed our 3-man then 2-man edition of Nerds Without Pants.
Yeah, we took out Rob.
Yeah.
He was annoying.
But he'll bring it hard next time. Don't know what the next episode's going to be yet. We'll let you know as we get there. It's sure to be entertaining. I guess we'll do some housekeeping. Pixelbit now has a ton of podcasts that you can listen to in addition to this one.
Yeah, we're basically the podcast website.
Yeah, pretty much. As I said, I was on Backloggers Anonymous, so definitely check that out. We're playing 2 Human right now, and that's hosted by Angelo, and it's kind of a rotating cast depending on who wants to join in for that particular game. I think we've got some other ideas lined up. I think he wants to have some people vote, but I know Enslaved has been talked about. I think Bulletstorm's been talked about. He wants to do some retro games at some point, just for like a one-off. So it's a really fun show. You should check it out. Jesse and Mike, who you might remember from the Pixel Talk days when we were doing the 2 different, alternating teams, they're back with a new show called, Press Start to Continue. They just had their first episode this past week, and you should check that out. And, of course, we have the older shows, Pixel Talk and PB and Jason. You can check out my stuff over at Pixelbit, Patrick as well, and Rob.
Yep, I just started that new blog that I was talking about way back before I had shoulder surgery, so check that out and see if you like the paintings that I put up. I just put up one and have the ins and outs of what I'm going to be doing set up there. So I don't know. Wish me luck.
Yeah, I saw that. I was glad that you were able to get around to that. So that looks really cool. So check that out over in the blog section of the site. Let me see if I can remember Rob's stuff. Obviously, you can find his stuff at chud.com.
Mm-hmm.
Justpressplay.net. He does a lot of reviews there. And I believe it's whatwomenwant.com.
It's some girly thing.
I'm pretty sure that's it. He's going to kill me if it's not. But,
But you can ask him on Twitter.
Yes. You can find Rob over at Robert Otone, Ottone.
O-N-E.
Patrick.
And you can find me at some boss.
And you can find me at Julian_Titus. Thank you for listening. For myself, Patrick, and Rob, I'd like to remind you to keep it pantsless, internet. And if you're not down with that, we've got 2 words for you.
Suck it.
We out.
Bow to the masters. Break it down. Degenerate into something fool. We just got tired of doing what you told us to do. That's a break, boy. Yeah. That's a break, little man. Break it down. Degeneration. You think you can tell me what to do? You know who you're talking to? Well, you better get used to the way the ball bounces. I see what you got.
Stuff in your house.
Okay, but you can't hear anything right now?
It's very faint.
Alright, well I guess I'll keep the gain over here. I think I turned it up all the way or down all the way. I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
During the show I had it right in the middle.
Alright. We'll figure it out. But yeah, the mic definitely sounds way better than what you had before.
I love touching it, so that's enough in itself. I'm rubbing it right now.
And there's our outtake.
Rub it.
Rub it. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.